Francis Drake. You may know me as the dashing privateer and explorer. I'm here planning my entirely legal expedition to the South Seas. I'm going to explore the Spanish Main. I'm going to discover a new Albion and come back rich. Let's go. This is Sir Francis Drake, a 1984 game published by LCL, written by G. Ludinsky. It costs £7.95 and it loads in under a minute. Once it loads, you get the Cross of St. George and 3 cannon blasts. Then the screen goes blue and we slowly start filling in a map of the Western Hemisphere. There's America, there's Florida, Mexico there. You can see there Thailand, going into Malaysia, there's Indonesia, and on the right hand side you've got the Spanish Main, South America, and the wide waste of the Pacific. There's Australia, which hadn't been invented yet by Captain Cook. And we have introductory text. Francis Drake left Plymouth in 1577 to search for a northwest passage to the Pacific. He encountered stormy weather in the Straits of Magellan and lost 2 ships. Then the wind dropped. For a start, it's a strange way to go about finding the northwest passage by going south. Also, there's a very long wait here, around a minute. A minute to load and a minute to wait on this screen. What it's doing is filling in the map with different encounters to see what happens. There was no indication of this though. The game comes with no instructions on the archive site, so I have created my own in my own inimitable way. You start at the bottom right of the map, just south of Lima. The aim of the game is to visit New Albion in the top of the map, and then to move to the bottom left of the map in order to circumnavigate the globe. You control the ship with the cursor keys, 5 to go west, 6 to go south, 7 north, 8 and east, and answer questions as appropriate. And we begin. Our status is on the bottom of the screen. We can see the week we're in, how much cargo we have, which is our treasure, food, which starts at 100, crew, balls, we have 100 balls as we are Francis Drake, and the ship is currently undamaged. That beep means something bad has happened. We have hit a rock. We have 2 choices here. We can throw cargo overboard to lighten the ship, or we can anchor to windward and try and winch ourselves off. I chose to winch myself off, as it were. That failed. The ship now has a hole in it and will take damage every turn until we reach a friendly port. Any port in a storm, they say, and this includes Spanish ports, which are surprisingly welcoming to an English privateer. The Pacific can be something of a maze. Sometimes there are rocks ahead, sometimes there are reefs, and you have to go another way around. We have encountered an unnamed Spanish galleon. 2 choices here. We can attack it or we can ignore it. Attacking gives us 3 further options. We can use our cannons to attack it, we can use fire ships, or we can try to sneak aboard. My ship has another hole in it, so I need to return to a friendly harbour. Fortunately, I found one, but can I get there in time? The safe choice would have been to throw some goods overboard. But who wants to be safe? If we encounter Spanish galleons, we might as well attack them, because the worst that will happen is they'll put a hole in us, and we've already got a hole in us. Farewell and adieu to new Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu to you ladies of Spain, for we've received orders to sail for New Albion. We hope in a short time to see you again. We're moving up the west coast of the Americas. If we encounter a Spanish galleon, there is a chance that we may have a hole in us, which is bad. But if we successfully capture it, we gain treasure, but also, more importantly, food. And at least we have a safe port to return to. The random number god is often unhappy with us. Sometimes it seems whatever approach you take at firing your cannons, sneaking aboard using a fire ship just doesn't work. So sometimes it's just best to ignore these Spanish galleons. We're moving back and forth between a friendly port and a Spanish galleon that keeps putting holes in us no matter what we do. Eventually I will get bored of it and just ignore it to move further up the coast. Ports repair your ship, but you don't get any food. It doesn't cost you any treasure to repair your ship. And no one gets syphilis either, which is a big plus. I struck a rock, but was able to anchor and pull myself off without taking any damage. It gets lonely at sea. Yet again, our ship has more holes in it than a colander, so back to port. Rocks and later on reefs do seem to stay in the same position. It just means you can't go that way from here. You have to learn where they are and move around them. But you don't take any damage from attempting to go into them. Unfortunately, my ship has reached 10 damage, which means it's filled with water and now sinks. That is the end of the game. If we look at the listing, we see it's a relatively simple basic program, taking up about 10k. Let's make it better! Splice the main brace! Shiver the timbers! Open fire! We've run aground. There's only one thing for it. We to dump the treasure. This is the Snorkified deluxe version of Sir Francis Drake. As is traditional, I always add a loading screen. Adding a loading screen requires you creating a little loader program. It's quite simple though. You just load the loading screen and then you position the cursor in such a way as to not ruin the loading screen and then load the main program. The loading screen was created using a globe from Paint 3D and a bit of my costume, which I put into GIMP, adjusted the scaling and that and cut it out on a black background, changed all the contrast and that, loaded that into ZX Paintbrush and produced quite an acceptable loading screen. You've got the Western Hemisphere, you've got Sir Francis Drake and his ruff. Upon loading, you have the Cross of St. George as before and the noise. We then go through to the map. I've not changed the speed of this, it still takes a minute. However, to give an indication that something is happening, periodically I change the colour of the border. I've sped this up 5 times, hence the fast forward symbol, but the border changes from black all the way up to white to give you an idea that something is indeed happening. I've highlighted actions in inverse text. You only need to press the first letter. This uses in keys. Francis Drake's expedition to the Pacific was a big surprise to Spain. In the game this is noted, however your chance of success by sneaking up on the Spanish is still only 50-50. I've changed this so that when you enter the closed sea, you have a great chance of attacking Spain by surprise. However, the more attacks you do, the chance of this drops because they get used to you being there. The original has 2 named Spanish galleons, Espirito Santo and Cacafuego. I've expanded this to 10 different named Spanish galleons, all real historical ships. In the original, ports are only visible if your ship was damaged. In my version, you can detect ports anytime you like by moving into them. Ports offer you the chance of buying a limited supply of food at the cost of cargo. When you leave a port, it's marked with a user-defined graphic of an anchor for ease of use in knowing where to go back to it. Francis Drake was supposed to find a place for settlement. In the original, if you don't go to New Albion, once you go a certain distance west, it starts nagging you to go there. You can still complete the game without visiting New Albion, though. I've changed that so you have to visit New Albion. When you discover New Albion, your ship gets repaired, and you get an indication that it exists with a St. George cross appearing in your status bar. It also tells you that no Northwest Passage is possible. In the original version, I noted that going to find the Northwest Passage by going south is a bit stupid. In fact, Francis Drake was trying to find the Northwest Passage from the western end. You find the far end and then just head east. Not a bad idea. He got as far north as Oregon before bad weather forced him to turn back. That there is a photo of Drake's Bay, which is just north of San Francisco. Once you get to the Spice Islands, the East Indies, you can encounter islanders. Some are hostile and throw stones at you, killing your crew. Some are quite friendly and will sell you clothes very cheaply. You can make a fortune in clothes. In the original game, this is exploitable by keep moving back and forth into the square, making lots of money every turn until you run short of food. I've changed this slightly, so whenever you interact with friendly islanders, there's a chance that your sailors may inadvertently upset them, and then they are then hostile for the rest of the game. When you reach the bottom left of the map, you win the game. I've added a border effect just to give a little bit of pizzazz, but then there was no actual winning screen, so I've decided to repurpose the one they've got there, with the St. George Cross, Princess Francis Drake in the middle, and if you've made enough money, it puts Sir on there as well. Huzzah! Well, that was an exciting and entirely legal voyage. Thanks to the rich treasures I brought back, my monarch has dubbed me Sir Francis Drake. I'll see you on the bowling green.